Today we will discuss about the script include. Script include is nothing but where it's a Java class which we can use to store which a Java class we can write the script for it. So where it can be used for the code reusability. So what we have done is script include, that means for example if you have written a one function which will be used for the multiple scenario multiple scripts, so you have to write it each and every one we can write it. So and also this script include will be executed in the, just give me guys, I'm getting call, just give me a minute. Yeah, so we can discuss today in the script include what is a script include. So script include is a java server java site class which will be used to create the same thing. So for example if I open this java server class, so this is the use for script include. So there are script include is used to uh, it's a server side will execution which will be used to execute the call it from the server level. Now what we will do is whatever, so it will be, oh my God, just give me a minute. Again, I'm getting call. Yeah. So the script includes, which is a method which will be used to one. So which is a method or Java class which is used for reusable purpose, which will be executed in the server side for the same thing. Now, if you want to call a script include from a client script, we can use the GlideAjax concept. GlideAjax is nothing but it's a term which will be used asynchronous Java, script, and XML. That is a GlideAjax, and GlideAjax allows us to update part of web page synchronously by exchanging small accounts of data with the server. That exchange occurs behind the scene instead of reloading the whole form, which means Ajax term is stands for asynchronous JavaScript. So Ajax allows us to update the part of our web page synchronously by exchanging the data small amount of data with the server. That means the data will be flow from the server to the client and client to the server. And GlideAjax class is used to by client scripts to send data to and receive the data from the ServiceNow server. That means whatever the data which you are sending from client to server, we can use the GlideAjax. This is the one of the most common asked interview question. Interview may ask how we can call a script include from the client script. Sorry, client side. So if you have to set by using the GlideAjax method, we can use the script include from the client side for the same thing. So the client side parameter passes the client side script passes the parameter to the scripting. That means from the client side we can pass the what are the client side parameter, we can pass the information to the script include, and that scripting returns the data as a xml or as an json object. And the client side script parses data from the response and can use the data in the subsequent script logic. So uh, which means whatever the information which we have seen it here. So this client side parses the data from the script include data from the information, and others from the here client side for the same thing here. Now the next step what we have to this is it, for example, and why, oh my god, what happened? So how this client script will work whenever if an event occur in the browser, so by using the internet, so the browser, so it will create a html request and send a request from the internet. It will go to the server and it will process the http request and create a response and send the data back to the browser, and from the internet again we will receive the process the data, return the data by using the javascript, and it will update the page content. Page content is nothing but it will update the record for the same thing. So from the browser it will send to, by using internet it will go to the server. From the server it will done the validations, and from that it will do the backend for the same thing for here. So this is the basic thing here, all the same here. So this is the one, and next one, what is the important things we need to remember when we initialize GlideAjax, that means where we can use the what we called script include name. So if you go to the if you call a table, we will use a where variable name equal to new glide record. Here also we can use it where we can use where variable name equal to new GlideAjax and the script include name. The script include name which we will use, we should make sure that client callable checkbox must be checked. That means if you want to call a script include from the client side, you should be the sorry from the client callable should be always true. And as we discussed, the script include sorry the client script passes parameters using GlideAjax to the script include, and the parameter uses naming convention. So that's a basic thing. And the next one, so make sure that the naming convention of the must have prefix param underscore. Param is nothing but which is a parameter in that one. GlideAjax passes the function name in the parameter which requires to execute in the server end. Some example is on, you can see ga.add param. Add param is used to call a function or pass the information from here to the server side. So first one scripting parameter will ga.add param sys underscore sorry sysparam underscore name, and what is the function we defined in that one we can write it. And next one ga dot add param sysparam underscore first name, that means the first name. So sysparam underscore location, that's the location, that means that one. And the main benefit of the GlideAjax is that we can easily calls the pass parameters to the ServiceNow script include by using the naming convention. That means whatever the main advantage of the GlideAjax, so we can call easily the parameters in the script include which are written on the server side by using the client side for the same thing. This is the basic thing. So and get xml wait, let's we can discuss it here also. So why we need to execute a server from the client side? So when we want to validate the things on the client side form, we need to execute server side code in the from the execute. That example, for example, see, so we need to check whether the user is belong to specific data or not, specific group, that we can do it. So that means, so when we want to validate, that means you want to execute or you want to run a script from any client side. So how we can write for the same thing here, where we can do the here. Now what we have done is when we want to validate the things on the client form, so that means if you want to execute any server side, so what happened in the client script, we can as per the best practices we cannot write a server side script in the, we can write it but it's not a best practice, so that we cannot do for a same here. That is a one server side code from the client side. So that's the reason we can write a script include for the same thing. And what are the different types of GlideAjax? So the GlideAjax is nothing but there are two types. First one is a synchronous and second one is a asynchronous. Asynchronous is GlideAjax where you use the XML callback function through which code runs on backend to get response from the server. So because of that, user can proceed with other fillings, etc. So which means asynchronous GlideAjax, we use getXML callback function. That means asynchronous GlideAjax will be used to XML. Get XML will be used to it doesn't wait for the result and will respond. It doesn't wait for the result and will respond to the next step. That is the one. And synchronous is, GlideAjax is nothing but it will use the getXML wait function, so user cannot process with the other fields filling or other fields with will get freeze until the response is not received. That means if you are waiting for something, then we can use a getXML wait. GetXML wait is a asynchronous call which will be used to wait for the something one. This is the one. And now, so the basic syntax, the where GA equal to where GA is nothing but the variable name equal to new glide record. So from that glide record, we can sorry glide record is used to call a table. Here we use the glide ajax is used to here the glide ajax will be used to call the one and that's the script include and here you can see it add param way to define what is the function which you have written in the script include, that is the one we have written. And next one, whatever we are written the same thing here, here in the sense so that's one. And add param, the function name define the script include, I will show you with an example later. And add param user and what is the value we need to define, caller id, it will go from here to there. And get xml is it doesn't wait for the next one and it will go have define a function pop. So that means it's the asynchronous call, the function pop, and we from that one we can write the result. So this I will show with an example. It we can wait. And next one, why we need to use the callback function. Here the ga dot get xml here, what we have given as a what we can say uh, callback function. Callback function is nothing but so callback function, the function is said to be callback function when when it is passed an argument uh, to another function so that it can be called back later. This function is used to avoid application halt while the data is being fetched from the database of or something. That means a simple whenever uh, whenever if you created anything like what we can say the function, that means the callback function when it passes an argument, the function is that we call back later, the function is avoid the halt. That means we need to fetch or we need to get the result from the server. So to avoid it that one, so we need to wait for the result and then immediately it will go for the next step. That means the application performance will be increased, the execution time will be increased for this one and it doesn't wait for the one. So this is the basics about the glide ajax, how we can write a function for the one. Now this is the basic thing how we can write a for the one. And now the next step, how we can write a script include and what is the advantage of the same thing. The script include is nothing but, as we discussed, is a JavaScript. I'm sorry. So now what we have to do it is the script include, how we can write a script include and all other things for the same here. Now This is the GlideAjax. How you can write it later? I can share this document to you. And now, how we can write a script include? Since there are some scripts are not executing in my instance. Yesterday I test it, so I just show this one. So I have here. I'm just writing a script include, which is a date validation. So date validation, and also whenever this is the name of the script include, and if we call API, that's a global data API, that is application score dot one, and this is accessible from, that means if you want to access this scope will be all for the same thing here. Now client callable is nothing but if you want to call that script include from the client side, so that we can use the client callable. That means if you want to use the GlideAjax function, we can use the same thing. And here one, and whenever if you write it one, this data validation and a class create, this is a prototype which will be create automatically. And object section abstract processor is used to process the client side. Now here, now my goal is, so I'm just, let me open, yeah. So here, so there is a expected data closer. So then what I will do is, so I have the option to select the old date, but the expected data of closer is a future date only, so it has to go to the future date and it cannot go with the current date for the same thing. So which means, so the expected date is nothing but which cannot go for the, it will select the only the future date, it cannot go with the uh, one. But here we have an option to select it, but right now, okay, I have did a validation. Right now we did. So if you want to, we can write from here. So what happened, what was the user has entered this value, we need to pass it to the server side, and in the script include we need to validate it. So here, first one, we have defined a function date validation and date validation. I'm just writing, and I'm just defining a variable called so defining a variable called this is the one, where ch data equal to this dot get parameter, this dot get parameter, and sysparam dot date, which will fetch the information from the user, and which will be used for the same thing here. Now, which means here what it will happen is, whenever this has implemented, so that means whenever, so whenever this has implemented, so what are the user has entered, that will be comes to here, it will be stored in the chd date, change date, that like this one. And where date equal to gs dot now, gs dot now will be used to fetch the current time of the current time, so it will fetch it. And where different seconds equal to gs dot date diff will be used to fetch the difference between the two dates. That is, if it is a true date, char date, it will validate for the one. Now, what are the script include we have written? So now we will just go to here. This is the one, like that. What is the current date or not? We can check this one. And here UAT date, that's a different one. Here also we just calculated the first the date we have validated here, and the date first one, and second date we fetched it. And what from gs dot now, what we did is we just fetch the current existing date time, and different seconds, first in the diff seconds we have validated, and in the different seconds we have validated between these two. Which means, so in the different seconds one, we have date difference between the UAT, this variable, and the current date. And here also the difference between UAT date to the start date, these two we have done it. And the where answer equal to difference, that means this plus what is the difference, these two we have calculated. And next one, if you want to for this one the same concept we get it. And here again we need to add a dates which you already explained in the what you have forgot that name, glide date concept. From that you can fetch the all the information from it. Now what happened, SR date this parameter will do, and this will be do. And glide date time, this will have a, what is a date field for this one, glide date. And add dates, how many dates we need to add it, we can date it. And dt dot get, so it will get the data. And different seconds will be used to find the difference. And answer equal to what are the one we have added. So now this is the basic thing we have added. And I hope you got it or any confusion. Later if you want to, no no no, later if you want to I can no, if you want to I can share the script to you, the script also you can try it once. Okay, no worries. Now uh, what happened, now this is the basic thing. And now the next step what we have to do is uh, yes, now how we can write a call a this script include from the client side. How we can write a script include from the client side. Let's we have to explore the same thing here. No no no, that means we can write a how we have written a client script. And let's we can further one, just go to the here client script. And I have already written since so it's a big script. And we cannot execute it sometime, so we cannot waste the time. So expected date validation. So since it is a form change is nothing but on the form it has to change the same thing here. And we don't do make a noise now. So this is the expected date validation. So I'm just writing what is the on the table problem, and what is the type is all. And this one, so the type is on change is nothing but which will be used to on change the what I called type is on change. And the field name expected date of closure. So I'm just making this field on one. And here what I'm just making, first I'm just fetching what was the date here by using g underscore form dot get value. G underscore form g underscore form dot get value is used to fetch the current logged in details for the same thing here. So that means g underscore form dot get value will fetch the current sorry with the name in the current sorry what you can say value which was entered one. Next one, if expected date is not in an incorrect value, that means we will pass a we have pass a text to the incorrect value, we will show you later. And next one, it will show the hide message, that's a different one. Next one, where d ajax. So d-ajax is a variable where we are configuring here. And new GlideAjax date validation. New GlideAjax date validation is a script include name. And new GlideAjax, which means we are calling a script include by using ajax, that's why we are storing in variable one. And now the ajax dot add param, which will call the function. So what are the function we have written here, date validation, right? This date validation function we are calling from the this script, this line number 9. And later, and dajax dot param sys underscore date from exp date, whatever you are storing exp date we are passing to the server side. Next one, djax.getXML. GetXML is a asynchronous call which doesn't wait for one, and we have written a callback function stating that DAjax response. So if DAjax dot response equal to response and answer equal to, I'm just defining the answer equal to respond dot respond XML dot document element dot get attribute out. So that means what are the value which we have entered here, which will come as a, whether it should be a JSON format, it should be in a JavaScript format. So XML format, what is the value we have entered, so that we can configure the same thing here. uh, that means here, whatever, what you can say, what I forgot it, see, what are the value. So by using answer, we are storing if answer equal to less than 0, that means which is not a current date. So it will show the message stating that alert, enter the date is not valid, kindly please select a exact date, future date. And g underscore form dot set value, so which is a unexpected expected date of closure and the incorrect date for the same thing. So this is the basic scenario how we can test this one. Now we can test this one, let's see how it will execute. If I open a problem, so for example, if I selected 26 one, it doesn't accept. If I give today, it will also not accepted. If I give as a today, it will accept it. And if I give a yesterday date, it will give as a incorrect date, so that the date will not be a invalid date, so we cannot configure the same thing. So now if we give as a 3rd February, and it will be the same thing, and it will automatically change the date for it. So this is the how we can configure a script include for the same thing here. So there is a lot of different types of script include, there is a different example scenarios, but the basic funda is, first we need to configure a, what we can say, the first we need to configure the script include, and which we have to enable it, it should be executed from the client callable. And the next one, what we have to do is, the next one what we have to do it for it, so the client callable, and we have to write a glide ajax, we need to call that one. And from the glide, from the sysparam, uh, we can uh, so we can configure it from the different things for it. So this is the fundamental how we can write a one. So simple, just write a script include which has to call a call client callable, and we have to define a multiple functions, and we have to write a validation. And the next step what we have to do is, we need to, uh, what we can say it, we need to execute it, and we need to call it from the client script which by using the GlideAjax. And from the GlideAjax, which we have to do for it a different scenario, and which will be the same for it. This is the basic thing how we can execute it for the client script in the same thing here. I hope it clear how we can execute a client script from the server, sorry, by using the client script and the GlideAjax concept. Later I can share this code to you. If you want to, you can execute. Okay, fine. Any questions for this today's topic? What to discuss? I will share you. I will share you. I will share the script. Okay, fine. So I'm just closing the session, and we'll meet on tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. Bye.